Love is never what it seems. Behind every romantic gesture, every passionate declaration, every sleepless night spent thinking about someone, there's a machinery at work that most never see. Today, we rip away the fairy tale and expose the raw, disturbing psychology of obsession, where love becomes addiction, where devotion turns destructive, and where your mind is both the architect and the prisoner.
You think you know what love feels like.
The butterflies, the racing heart, the way time stops when they walk into a room. But what you're experiencing isn't just emotion, it's a chemical hijacking of your brain. And some people know exactly how to exploit it. Obsession doesn't start in adulthood. It's born in childhood, in the shadows of our earliest relationships. If your caregivers were inconsistent, loving one moment, cold the next, your brain learned that love is unpredictable. Psychologists call this anxious attachment, a desperate hunger for closeness mixed with a paralyzing fear of abandonment. Others learned that closeness equals danger. Their caregivers were cold, rejecting, or absent. These people develop avoidant attachment. They crave intimacy, but push it away the moment it gets too real. Both patterns create the perfect storm for obsessive relationships.
Your brain doesn't distinguish between healthy love and toxic obsession.
Both flood your system with a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Dopamine drives the craving, norepinephrine creates anxiety and euphoria, and low serotonin generates the intrusive thoughts that consume your every waking moment. The result? You're hooked. But the most dangerous part isn't constant affection, it's unpredictability. This is intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle that keeps gamblers glued to slot machines. When rewards come unpredictably, your brain becomes addicted to the possibility of the next hit. Every unanswered text is a slot machine pull. Every mixed signal is another chance to win attention. The uncertainty is what makes you obsessed. Neuroscience reveals the horrifying truth. The anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes emotional pain, becomes hyperactive during obsession. You're literally experiencing withdrawal symptoms when they're not around. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking and impulse control, goes dark. You're not thinking clearly. You're not making logical decisions. You're operating on pure emotional instinct. The obsessed mind becomes a prison of intrusive thoughts. You replay every conversation, analyze every gesture, search for hidden meanings in the most mundane interactions. You become a detective investigating your own feelings, a psychic trying to read their mind, a prisoner of your own imagination. The more you try to stop thinking about them, the more your thoughts spiral out of control. But there's an even more disturbing layer. Some people instinctively know how to create and maintain obsession in others. They use trauma bonding, cycles of intense affection followed by sudden withdrawal, creating an addictive pattern of relief and anxiety. They become both the source of your pain and the only cure for it. Manipulators know that consistency kills obsession, so they remain deliberately unpredictable. They shower you with attention when you're pulling away, then become distant the moment you're fully invested. They create artificial scarcity, making their time, attention, and affection seem rare and precious. Your brain interprets this scarcity as value, making you crave them even more intensely. The psychology of obsession also feeds on fantasy. When someone is inconsistent or unavailable, your mind fills in the gaps with idealized versions of who they could be. You fall in love not with the real person, but with your projection of their potential. This fantasy becomes more compelling than reality because it's perfectly tailored to your deepest needs and desires. Social media has weaponized obsession in ways we're only beginning to understand. Every post, every story, every online interaction becomes data to feed your obsessive thoughts. You become a digital stalker, analyzing their activity for clues about their feelings, their whereabouts, their interest in others. The constant access to information keeps the obsession alive long after it should have naturally faded. The dark truth is that obsessive love is often not about the other person at all. It's about what they represent: validation, security, the promise of healing old wounds. You're not in love with them. You're in love with the idea that they can complete you, fix you, make you whole. But no human being can carry that burden. Obsession thrives on low self-worth. When you don't believe you're inherently valuable, you become desperate for external validation. The obsessed person often has a core belief that they're not enough, not attractive enough, not interesting enough, not worthy of consistent love. The object of their obsession becomes proof of their worth, which is why losing them feels like losing themselves. The physiology of obsession mirrors addiction in disturbing ways. Your brain develops tolerance, requiring more and more contact to achieve the same emotional high. You experience withdrawal symptoms when they're absent: anxiety, depression, physical pain, inability to concentrate. You develop elaborate rituals and compulsions around maintaining contact with them. Breaking free from obsession requires understanding that it's not really about love, it's about control. The obsessed person is trying to control an uncontrollable situation, to force certainty in an uncertain world. They believe that if they can just figure out the right combination of words, actions, or changes to themselves, they can guarantee the other person's love. Real love doesn't require guarantees. It doesn't demand control. It doesn't hold you hostage to another person's moods and whims. Healthy love is characterized by security, not anxiety. It builds you up rather than tearing you down. It gives you peace, not chaos. The path out of obsession begins with radical self-honesty. You must acknowledge that what you're feeling isn't love, it's addiction. You must confront the wounds that made you vulnerable to obsession in the first place. This means facing your fear of abandonment, your hunger for validation, your belief that you're not enough on your own. Healing from obsession is a process. It requires cutting off contact with the person you're obsessed with, at least temporarily. It means redirecting your energy into self-care, therapy, and building a life that feels meaningful without them. It means learning to sit with discomfort, to tolerate uncertainty, to find safety within yourself rather than in someone else. Obsession is a mask for deeper wounds. Often you're not in love with the person, you're in love with what they represent. Safety, validation, the promise of healing old hurts, but no one can fill that void except you. Escaping obsession means facing the truth. The person you're fixated on cannot rescue you from yourself. They cannot complete you. The only way out is to turn inward, to heal the wounds that made you vulnerable in the first place. To give yourself the acceptance and love you've been searching for in others. By the way, if you want to keep uncovering the hidden forces that control our minds, don't let this be the last time we meet. Subscribe to Twilins and step deeper into the shadows of psychology, where truth is unsettling, but knowledge is power. So unmask obsession. See it for what it is. A trick of the mind, a hijacking of your chemistry, a shadow masquerading as love. True love doesn't chain you, it sets you free.